strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
That kid is back on the escalator again.
Pain don't hurt.
Is my boomstick!
Game over, man. It's game over.
It's showtime.
Welcome to Bargain Bin's 2020 Halloween special. He is your host, Ben Mason.
And he is your co-host, Sandra Luketic. And today, we're going to take things in a weird little list kind of route. Not going to do another review per se, but I found a list the other day on Internet Movie Database called the Not So Scary Movies for Scaredy Cats. And I just wanted to see if you want to have a little chat about what they had on their list.
Oh, it's almost like you read my mind. I love getting into the Halloween spirit, but as a big baby who is still traumatized by childhood viewings of things like Candyman and demonic toys, I need something that can get me into the spirit without causing me to lose sleep.
Demonic toys?
What?
Okay, no, that's fine.
I saw it when I was like 6, man. Give me a break.
That I saw Nightmare on Elm Street when I was 4.
There's no movie, clearly not even getting into the list right away, that you saw when you were a kid that didn't impact you in a way that you weren't expecting, you wouldn't expect now, and for some reason, compared to other things you saw at that time, stood out. Like, I watched Friday the 13th when I was like 6. Didn't bother me, but for some reason, demonic toys did.
Yeah, there were two, actually, when I was a kid that really traumatized me at the time. And they have nothing to do with horror.
Oh.
One was The Land Before Time.
That's a great movie.
I know, but Littlefoot's mother?
Well, yeah, but you could... Okay, no, this is fine. All right.
And the other one, I don't even remember watching. I just remember my mom walking into the TV room and I was crying. And it was The Last Unicorn.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if we're talking about non-horror related movies, the killing in Transformers, the movie, really traumatized me as a kid. But I was thinking, since it's Halloween, and we're kind of sticking to that theme, that I would mention the horror ones.
That's fine. I was just talking childhood trauma from films. But do you want to get into the list?
Well, that's the idea. What am I watching this Halloween season?
Some of these you might not want to. Number one on the list was I Know What You Did Last Summer.
I mean, if you don't know the movie, you know the title.
Yeah. It's classic 90s teen horror, written by Kevin Williamson, who did Scream and Dawson's Creek and stuff like that. I mean, it was pretty much a bunch of young up-and-coming actors, too, with Jennifer Love Hewitt, who I guess people kind of knew from Party of Five, then Ryan Phillippe, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Freddie Prinze Jr., a group of high school kids partying hit somebody with their car and then believe that that person was not actually dead and coming back and killing them.
Didn't this movie come out in a period where there was like a bunch of teen slashers? Like it was the hot button at the time?
Yeah, and it's because of Kevin Williamson himself. Because Scream came out, 96? Just the year before?
I don't remember the dates, but yeah, like I remember it was pretty close, and when, whatever my vague memory can recall, at the time it was like, oh, this seems very similar.
Yeah, they were pretty paint by numbers at that point. I don't know if there's really even been, like, a comeback for the horror genre in that sense, not for slashers anyway. Because all they do now is just remake the old ones.
Well,
but
maybe
we're not going to spend a lot of time on this.
Maybe something else on this list will get a remake soon.
Well, it's funny that you said that because the next one is from 1992, and it is Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Wait, they're making a new Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
No, they had the TV show.
Oh, I thought like you meant like a remake movie, like how they redid Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or
yeah, twice.
Yeah, like something like that. But yeah, no, I remember watching Buffy when I was a kid, and honestly, I found it hard to consider it a horror movie.
Yeah, it's definitely a horror comedy.
I find that, yes, it does fit into that genre, but I feel like the heavy leaning is towards the comedy part.
Yeah, I agree.
We're talking like Luke Perry, is it Paul Rubin in a small scene, in a small
Pee-wee
role?
as Spike.
Yeah, David Arquette
Yep.
Who else did we have in it?
Who played the villain?
Couldn't tell you.
Rutger Hauer.
Who that?
Hobo with a shotgun.
I watched it.
Yeah.
Man.
Did you ever see Blade Runner?
You're putting a lot of stock in my memory right now, which is just a problem.
All right.
Who was the trainer keeper?
Donald Sutherland.
That's what I thought it was going to be. Yeah, I remember
And who
watching
played
that.
Buffy?
Swanson?
Yeah, you nailed it. Christy
Jeez.
Swanson.
Yeah, I mean, I was confident in that answer. You
Swanson?
you could hear it in my voice.
Moving on from that, they have Tremors from 1990.
Okay, that one, I've seen bits and pieces here and there. Like, I'll randomly turn on the TV on like a weekend and it'll be on and it'll be like the second half or something. But I can honestly say I've never sat down and watched it from start to finish.
It's a really good buddy comedy horror movie. Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward. Giant subterranean worm monsters in the desert. This really sums it all up. You see, I'm blanking on his name right now, but he was the father in Family Ties, playing Burt Gummer, who's your stereotypical all-around gun-toting American, and his wife was played by Reba McEntire. It's a really fun go. They actually, I think part 7's coming out this year.
There 7?
Yeah.
Oof.
And Michael Gross, that's his name. He is the only person who's been in all 7 movies.
Do you consider this a horror movie?
Yes.
Is
It's
it
pretty gory at times. There are some decent scares. It's really gross at times as well. And there's a lot of tension, but they use the mixture of comedy with horror perfectly.
See, the feeling that I've gotten 3 deep into this list is that none of them are really true horrors. We had a slasher, a comedy horror, which was leaning more heavily on the comedy. And from what I saw of Tremors, it definitely felt like a monster movie, but it didn't really feel very horrific.
Yeah, going through the list, you're going to see a lot of that. And I think it's more of like an introductory list for people who don't really know horror or have watched a lot of horror, just kind of easing them in without throwing them something like Hellraiser.
All right, well, let's ease into the next one. What else is on this list?
The Craft.
I did not watch that movie.
I did when it came out like 24 years ago, and I've had no desire to watch it since. And they just came out with a sequel this year.
This year?
Yeah.
Well, I'll talk about striking when the iron's hot.
Yeah, really. Get those shit movies out in this shit year.
So I'm guessing that you wouldn't recommend this movie from the list.
It's so horribly dated. I mean, in 96 it was great. 97 it already felt dated. I mean, just your high school witch girls, basically. I mean, the actors are fine. It's the story that's kind of sucky.
I have no knowledge to contribute to this one.
Okay, well then we'll move on to the next one, which I know nothing about because I started watching it and I just couldn't get into it and turned it off.
Okay.
It's from 2 years ago. It's A Quiet Place.
I have not watched that one. I know Lizzie watched it. She thought it was all right. It's what, John Krasinski from The Office?
Yep, I think he directed it too.
I'm pretty sure he had a part in making it. Why couldn't you watch it?
It was just boring. It just felt like a retread of post-apocalyptic movies, of alien movies.
Is this a non-recommend then?
I can't say either way because I never finished it, but saying I never finished it should let you know how I feel.
I was going to say, that should be an indicator right there. We should clarify, I don't know if we did, that this is a list taken from IMDb. And not necessarily...
Oh yeah, I covered it.
It's okay. Not necessarily these are the movies you recommend. You're just giving your thoughts on the list that they recommend.
Yeah, and I have 3 movies to add to this list when we're done, which I cannot believe are not on here.
All right, well, we'll get to that. What's the next one?
The Cabin in the Woods.
I hated it. Hated
What?
it. Shouldn't exist. I hated it.
Why?
We could do a whole episode on why.
Okay, I would love to.
I don't.
Maybe we should say. I'm gonna make you do it
I
eventually.
don't want to
So
revisit
let's
this
say-
movie. I hated it. The ending drove me insane. I couldn't stand it. There is no. You talk about this one. I'm out.
I can't remember. Was that Whedon who did that?
I don't know.
Joss Whedon, right?
I don't know, man. You know, I'm
All right.
terrible with the behind the scenes stuff. I could tell you what happens in the movie on camera, but I'm not going to because I hated it.
Okay, well, we're gonna save this passion because I want to talk about it in length now.
Okay.
We'll just go to the next one. I don't know why this is really on the list, but it's Knights of Bad Aston.
See, I've seen that one. It was a semi-okay. Like, it wasn't great. It wasn't I'm sorry I wasted my time on it. But I'm with
Yeah.
you. I don't know why it's on the list. I don't even
I mean,
see it as an intro horror movie, really.
A bunch of LARPers who accidentally summon a succubus and have to fight it.
Yeah.
I'd say it's more fantasy comedy than anything.
But it if I recall correctly, not saying that it necessarily succeeds, but it was heavily leaning on the comedy aspect.
Yeah.
Just because you have a succubus in it doesn't make it a horror. And
No, I agree.
again, I wouldn't necessarily place the movie as good or bad. It was just a decent way to pass the time, but it was in no way something I would call a horror.
Yeah, I agree. There is only one person in this world that finds it to be a horror movie, and that's the director.
And the person who wrote this list.
I guess, yeah. Joe Lynch directed the movie and then had it taken away from him, had no say on any of the editing, and he still says that the movie that was released has nothing to do with the movie that he was filming.
Oh, I would love to see a director's cut then.
He pushed for it, and apparently it will never happen. It's behind locked doors now.
Boo.
So he just wants nothing to do with the movie. He hates even talking about it. It was that bad.
Dude, I gotta tell you, I'm batting a 0 on this list so far.
All right, well, you've definitely seen the next one.
Okay.
Beetlejuice.
I've definitely seen it. I gotta mirror my comments here. It really feels like they're leaning heavily on the comedy side of comedy horrors.
There really wasn't as much comedy in that movie as everybody remembers. I think a lot of people our age just remember the cartoon more than anything.
Yeah, the cartoon was good, but it was drastically different because they made Beetlejuice an ally in the cartoon, where in the movie he was clearly the antagonist.
Yeah, the cartoon is the protagonist for sure.
And I can
And then,
see how
Lydia.
I can see how the movie, to a younger audience, some of the imagery, some of the like the just the visual look of it could be a little bit scary, but I don't think anybody else beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was probably most people's first Tim Burton experience.
I will say this, it's definitely a movie on the list that I could recommend, but not for the same reasons.
I also find it kind of weird that people would have seen this movie and they're like, we need this guy for Batman.
Was it before Batman?
Batman came out in 89, this came out in 88.
Oh, wow. I mean, that's pretty close. Forgive me for not being...
Obviously, Beetlejuice was already in the can when they started filming Batman, but still.
A great cast, though.
Yeah, really good cast, except for one guy.
Oh, who?
Oh, wait, maybe I'm... the Lydia's father, Jeffrey Jones.
Well, that's not a bad casting, necessarily, and he did a good job in that movie.
Yeah, he's also a child diddler.
Oh, well, see, that's information that would have been useful to me before we did this recording.
It really makes you rethink Ferris Bueller's Day Off, too.
Oh, man, and Howard the Duck.
Yep.
That's my point of reference, Howard the Duck. All
That
right,
was a horrific film.
let's move it forward.
The next one I've never heard of. I think it's a Spanish-Italian co-production from '95. It's called Day of the Beast.
Well, if you've never heard of it, then I have no chance.
Well, I have the summary here from IMDb, and it sounds kind of interesting.
Lay it on me.
Bent on committing as many sins as possible to avert the birth of the beast, a Catholic priest teams up with a black metal aficionado and an Italian connoisseur of the occult. Now he must become an unrelenting sinner. Is there still hope?
Okay, so my first reaction upon hearing that summary is that it's not a movie to be taken seriously.
Mm-mm.
And I mean, I'm just going to go based on what we've seen thus far in the list and assume that it's probably going to be more of a comedy horror. And that is complete speculation. So anybody who is listening to this, who knows the movie, loves it, has a tattoo for it, don't blast me. I have not seen it.
No, it's listed as a horror action comedy.
Is there a limit to how many genres you can cross before it's just too much?
No, it's all about marketing. Once you market it to the right crowd, then you'll get viewers.
All right, man. Well, I'm saying I'm kind of disappointed. I don't have anything that I think I want to watch this holiday season yet.
Oh, these aren't my recommendations. We've been over this.
I know, but I don't have the list in front of me, so I'm hoping to hear something that, yeah, I can watch this.
Also, speaking of Day of the Beast, it really sounds like a Clancy Brown movie I saw a couple of years ago about a group of priests that try and sin as much as possible so they can become possessed by a demon that's escaped from hell, and then they kill themselves, trapping the demon back in hell. Very strange comedy.
Very strange sounding comedy.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Next on the list is Clue, which I had never seen.
I have not either. Tim Curry?
Yeah.
I think the only thing I remember seeing is like a poster image of him. So I hope you looked up something on this one because I got nothing to say.
Yeah, it came out in 85. It's a super popular movie. I don't know how I've never seen it. I'm pretty sure I even own it. Yeah.
Not like 95?
Nah, man.
Shit, I didn't think it was that old.
Yeah.
Going on the no knowledge that I have of it.
It's probably one of the first movies based off of a board game.
I can't imagine there's too many of those.
Battleship.
Is it really based on the board game, or is it just sharing the name?
It's the characters from the game, and it is a murder mystery. One cool thing about it, though, is that when it was released in theaters, they had filmed 3 different endings and released prints to different theaters, so you never knew what ending you were going to see.
Okay, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing, like, then you release, like, the Blu-ray DVD later. Obviously, you didn't have that in 85. That has all of the endings.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's actually
really pretty cool. But imagine if you found out there were 3 different endings, so you paid to go see it at a different theater and got the same ending you saw the first time.
Oh yeah, but you'd have to go to a different theater, right? Because they sent the prints.
Yeah, but they only did 3 different versions, right? Think about how many theaters are in towns.
Not as many these days, but I guess, yeah, back then.
No open ones, that's for sure. I guess drive-thrus.
Hey, all you really need to seem a little horrific is to have Tim Curry in it, so that's good enough.
That's true. This one is, I'm sure, something you've never seen, but Jennifer's Body?
I have not. No.
Megan Fox? No. Yeah, the less said about this one, the better. I mean, it had some pretty funny comedic moments, but it's basically about a girl who's abducted, the hot girl from high school who's abducted by a wannabe cult trying to perform a summoning, and they mess it up, so she becomes possessed by, I guess, a succubus as well. And CG blood and guts ensue. It's fine. Watch it once. Don't buy it.
I don't think I'm going to watch it once unless I'm made to.
I won't do that to you, man.
Thank you.
The next one I think you would like, and I'm pretty sure you haven't seen.
Okay.
The Gate. Yeah, it's The Gate from 87.
If I saw it, it would have been in 87, and I would have been 4 years old and don't remember.
Yeah. Well, I believe it was a Canadian movie. Really fun use of stop motion animation for little demons that are expelled from a portal that opens in this kid's backyard. It's a really young Stephen Dorff as the lead character.
Oh man, I wonder what he looked like back then.
He looked like your average 80s kid.
Oh,
Yeah, he was really good from what I remember. But what really does stand out to me is watching those little demons running around. And if I'm not mistaken, at one point they all kind of join together Voltron style and create this giant demon.
why do I feel very like I'm getting a very Evil Dead-esque vibe from just that part of it?
Yeah, yeah, agreed. Yeah, if you like the humor in Evil Dead 2 and like enjoyed the kind of cheesy special effects, you'll definitely like The Gate.
Oh,
They even made a sequel.
absolutely. Absolutely.
I know for a fact you've seen the next one on the list, man.
Okay, I mean you're gambling, but okay.
Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, but I pretty much circle back to all the comments I made about Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I mean
Great.
it's pretty crude when you go back and watch it now. I hadn't watched it in probably 10, 15 years, and it's much more adult than I remember it being.
I think I've watched that like once a year, every year around this time. I think it's one of the ones that Lizzie is go-to for that.
Are you going to see the new one?
Paul Rudd. I anticipate it. Do we even know when it's coming out?
I stopped paying attention to film release dates, man. They've changed so many times this year. It's not even worth looking into.
I will say this: it is a movie that I do anticipate watching.
Did you watch the last one?
Yeah, I didn't think it was as bad as people made it out to be. I don't know if I could necessarily classify it in the same canon as the first two, but it wasn't a bad movie by any means.
All right, I might check it out then. I haven't watched anything past 2, so.
I really do feel you have to view the more recent one with the like female cast as its own separate entity. You can't take it in the canon of the other Ghostbusters, and I think that's why it got a little bit more trashed on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely decent. Out of the 3 Ghostbusters movies, I'd say it was number 3 for how good it was. But it was still decent. The first 2 set a high bar.
Yeah. Very fair statement. Like I said, I'll probably give it a watch, but I have no expectations for it.
All right, we must be getting close to the end of this list, huh?
There's 4 movies left on the list, and then 3 I think should be on the list, going along with the current theme of what they've been putting on here.
All right, well, I'm disappointed with this list, so let's fire through those 4 a little bit more quickly and take a look at your 3.
Okay, Hocus Pocus.
Pass.
You don't like Hocus Pocus?
Yeah, pass.
Holy shit. Okay, I love that movie. All right, moving on. Evil Dead 2.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we referenced it earlier. That is easy recommendation.
Yeah, I agreed, 100%. Okay, then moving on to Poltergeist.
Haven't seen it?
It's definitely worth a watch. It's really good. Craig T. Nelson as the father of the family does a really good job. It's credited to Tobe Hooper as the director, but there's a really big ongoing rumor that it was actually Steven Spielberg who really directed most of it, since he was one of the producers and on set a lot.
Oh, so like even though he wasn't officially the director, he was sort of acting as it?
That's the rumor. And another one is that there's one scene in a swimming pool where rotten corpses just kind of pop up from underground through the pool, and they actually used real skeletons in that scene.
Real skeletons.
Yeah.
That's not something they could get away with today.
No, but also keep in mind, at the time, like a medical school, you could actually buy skeletons.
Cadavers, yeah.
Yeah. So it was
okay.
82 different times. And the last one on their list, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I feel like of what we've heard thus far on this list, that's probably the one that's closest to an actual horror movie on the list.
I would say The Gate as well.
Okay.
Last one, definitely not. Shaun of the Dead.
I mean, good movie.
Great movie.
But I don't know how many times we can say it leans more heavily on the comedy than the horror.
Yeah. but it is not so scary movies for scaredy cats. So it's movies that have a horror element.
Okay.
I could see this as being an introduction for people who don't like or haven't really watched much horror.
Okay,
But yeah,
well,
definitely luring people in with comedy.
I'm more interested in hearing your recommendations, though, that you feel were lacking from this list.
Well, keep in mind too, they also kind of go hand in hand with this list because I did use movies that had both horror and comedy elements.
Okay.
First one, Ernest Scared Stupid.
Okay.
You haven't seen it?
No, I've seen it.
You don't like Ernest Scared Stupid?
I do.
Do you not see how that would be a good introduction to horror for like kids?
It would definitely be for kids.
Yeah, I still watch it, man. I love Ernest movies.
I think I watched that one last Halloween. I'm just
Okay.
saying, if it's for scaredy cats that are children, yes. If it's for older people that are scaredy cats,
Oh, definitely not.
no.
No, these three movies are, the first two are for kids, third for, I'd say teens.
Okay.
The second movie on my list that I would add is The Monster Squad.
I have no idea what that is.
Really?
Yeah, really, really.
Wow. I thought everybody saw that growing up.
Clearly.
It's the first
Thanks,
time.
man.
But whatever, man. You had a horrible childhood, I'm guessing.
Well, it was tough to get movies under that rock.
Yeah, fair enough. No, it's about a group of kids who band together to fight the Universal classic monsters.
When you say Universal, you mean like Dracula, werewolf.
Yeah, Dracula, Wolfman, Frankenstein, Gillman, the Mummy. Yeah,
I mean, that sounds pretty fun.
it's really, really fun. Very much a movie from the late 80s, but I think that makes it really endearing to me. It's very charming, too. It's a really fun kids movie.
Okay.
Also, there's one classic scene where one of the kids freaks out when the Wolfman's in front of him and just kicks him in the junk.
I mean, that's movie gold no matter where it is.
But right after he does it and the Wolfman collapses, just yells, or kind of whispers the line, "Wolfman's got nards."
Okay, I'm in.
It's really fun.
I'm in. All right. And what's the very last movie that Ben would recommend for scaredy cats?
Teen Wolf.
I thought that was a sports movie.
It is a sports movie
Okay. That's not
with a
scary.
werewolf.
I know.
But no, the transformation scene in that movie is probably the scariest part. But it is really, really disturbing if you're younger watching it. Like the special effects are so good, especially where he's looking in the mirror at like his fangs growing.
I mean, I'm gonna hate to say it, I don't remember the movie. It's been a very, very long time. But I do love Michael J. Fox, and
He's
I
very,
think that,
he's very good in that movie.
I think that it definitely deserves a rewatch from me.
So of all of the movies on this list, you would recommend, or you're inclined to watch The Monster Squad?
I was intrigued by The Gate as well.
Yeah. The Gate was, same year, 1987.
So going off
87
that,
was a great year for horror, man. I'm pretty sure that was also Lost Boys.
oh, now that's a movie that should be watched on Halloween.
What are you going to watch this Halloween?
You know, this is our second episode only, and we've mentioned Lost Boys in both of them so far.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. Honestly, this year, I don't know, I might end up watching Elmo and Grouchland.
Oh yeah, Dad Life.
Yeah, it's gonna be a new experience. I'm gonna have a kid to take trick-or-treating, and
Are you doing the trick-or-treating?
TBD.
Yeah.
It's really hard to say. What about you, man? On that list, Give me your 3 that you would watch this year.
Okay. I will definitely be watching The Monster Squad.
Okay.
I might try and check out Day of the Beast if I can find it.
Okay.
And Hocus Pocus. I watch it every year.
Do you really?
Yep. I love that movie. I think what really got me into this list, the idea of doing this episode, was what really got me into horror was comedy. Watching stuff like Scooby-Doo. Like, I'm a big Scooby-Doo fan even today.
Okay.
I love that. I love horror that everybody can enjoy. So nothing too gross out that's going to upset a kid, but something that we can all like get a jump at, have a laugh here and there, and just really enjoy it. Like, it doesn't focus itself towards one specific genre fan. It opens itself up and allows more people to appreciate it.
Well, I will say this. Based on that description, I don't see any real glaring issues with this list. I was taking it with the mentality of horror movies. So clearly I had more negative things to say about a lot of them. But a large majority of them, like I said, I would recommend. Just maybe not under the heading that I thought they were under.
Yeah. Yeah, not so scary movies for scaredy cats. I don't know why the author of that list chose that title. I'd say movies that aren't that scary but have decent horror and comedy elements.
You know what we should do right now, Ben?
What's that?
We should tell our listeners to hit up Facebook at BS Bargain Bin and leave a comment on the post on what movie they'll be watching this year on Halloween.
I like this idea. Anybody listening, please do this.
I think that's it for this year, huh?
I guess. Unfortunately, I wish Halloween was more than once a year.
Well, I'm fairly certain that horror movies are going to be popping up a lot in our regular episodes, which come out every Wednesday.
I will definitely make sure that it's not all horror. I know not everybody loves horror as much as I do, and that's why we're not doing a horror movie for next episode.
Next episode will be Glory Days, which will be out this coming Wednesday. But for now, enjoy your Halloween, stay safe, and watch something scary.
All the best, guys.
Now that's entertainment!